This one's for posterity, if nothing else. I wasn't planning on going live. I'm really irritated about the downward spiral of my camera, of my phone cracking. Like, seriously, I am disappointed to say the least. Like, it's all right. Anyway, all things in due time. But I was watching this short and I was going to post it on my community tab, and I thought better of it because it just left this funny taste in my mouth. It's this video of two young dance teams. One of them had multiple participants, and the other only had two. Two young ladies were in white. In case you come across the short, I'm giving you some detail for understanding. The caption says, "Watch them eat," and then it says, "Quality over quantity." First of all, these young ladies look to be about 10 years old, and they are talented. They have some muscle control, and those things are necessary to be considered good dancers. Yet there's a moment in the video where one of them just puts her leg up on the seat and slaps her ass cheek. And it's confusing to me. Why why would my 10-year-old do that? Why would you have a 10-year-old do that? What representation of who we are as a people does slapping your ass cheek at 10 offer to the society, the world writ large? I don't know how many likes or views the video receives. It's not really that important to me, not in that way. I mean, um, just do we ever stop and think about what we are putting out into the world? Not mainstream media, not other people, none of those things. Do we ever stop and think about what we are putting out there? Like I've done a couple of videos, dear content creator, or you are the verisimilitude in YouTube, but we post daily what we see, what we create, what we want to share with the world as people. Are we really putting the best representation of who we are forward? Do we really care, or is the only thing that matters the clicks and the likes and the clout? I don't know. Hey, March Harris, how's your spirit? Yeah, I know there's not a lot of light out here. I could move down a bit, but why? This makes me a harder target for the little fools, buffoons in this space who think that you can do some type of craft upon me. Gotta figure out where I'm at exactly. It's getting harder and harder to find me, too. It's supposed to. Don't worry. Anyway, March, how's your spirit? Thank you for doing that YouTubian thing. I appreciate you. Um, I don't know. I was the over sexualization of our children is just one of those things that really turns my stomach. Yes, Halloween is coming. We've got another eclipse coming. There's a full moon in between. It's gonna be, listen, if people are about that, they think they're about that life, they're about to find out the hard way. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep testing God and playing with God and think He ain't gonna come and sometimes show up to show you. You know, I don't know. Anyway, that's not even the point. Like I don't want to get that far off because I don't want it to be about my or anyone's religious beliefs. It's just about the appearance, the offering. What is your child offering when they are thrusting from their pelvis, slapping their ass cheek, and stomping around like a, I don't know. That's all I'm asking. And don't get me wrong, I feel the same. But what we don't do, we don't have an entire community of drum majors out here teaching other young men to do the things that drum majors do. Because there are some things that drum majors do that are inappropriate too, but they don't make it down to the elementary school level. Why is that? By the time you make it to drum major and you're doing all those types of things, you are considered adults in the world. But we're taking the same behaviors of adult majorettes and putting them on little girls and saying that it's okay. Why? There's a short march out there of two young ladies in white dance uniforms versus, I would say, possibly 10 young ladies in red uniforms. The young ladies in white, it says quality over quantity, and it says watch them eat. And they do a fairly good job of doing the routine. But at some point during the routine, one of them turns around and slaps her ass cheek, and then they're constantly thrusting their pelvis and cheeks and I don't see it. Why is it necessary of our children? What is it? What's the representation? What's the offering? And why is it what we're offering to our children or to others as a representation of our children? It just doesn't make sense to me. We always want to blame the mainstream media and celebrities, but again, I say this was either the dance teacher or a parent, so a regular person uploading this video. I just, like I said, do we think about what we're offering? Because your 10-year-old giving me her ass to kiss don't make me question your parenting. And then you're going to wonder why she literally at home giving you her ass to kiss, talking all that mouth and all that ish. It's because you have encouraged it. Out here doing the most and the least simultaneously, wanting to blame anybody but you and your own. I agree with you, Mark. Young men and women see too much way too soon. I did my best to avoid it. Like, once I realized the way that they were propagandizing things in mainstream media, I limited anything that could be a beauty standard coming into our home. You're going to find beauty in who you are as individuals and in the people around you, not from someone else telling you what's beautiful. I mean, yeah, of course, I had Essence, I had Jet, but I stayed away from other things. All of those girly magazines, Mademoiselle, so on and such, even Victoria's Secret for the most part. The catalogs didn't come into my house because they're a false representation of beauty. As is this dance routine, it's a false standard of femininity. It was then, like I said, why is it that we do this with our daughters, but we don't have these same dance troupes with our sons? It just, mm, like it really it jarred me to the point where I had to go inside and ask someone. I was like, a gentleman, I was like, when you see this video, what do you think? And he was like, yeah, it doesn't sit well with him though. Well, I mean, that's my point. Isn't that why we are here as parents, March, to be able to shield them from things and for as long as possible? Not just for a time, but like seriously, if you smell yourself at 13, up until 13, I should be making sure you keep your nose and your ass clean. Giving you examples of how to be a righteous human being and not fall into these traps, rather than showing you how to, at a minimum, blur the lines, if not outright be the problem down the line. I was having a discussion earlier about how we need to be at home as long as possible. That the most formative years for our children, for us to be able to put information into them, is from 0 to 6. From 6 to 12, we're sending them elsewhere, so someone else has control of them. And when we get them back home again, we can clear up or clean out the brainwashing that they have gotten into, right? Yeah, we have to. Spirit says polite society. We've got to get them engaged in polite society, if that makes sense. Yeah, Marge, I agree that television is depressing, but that's the point of it. Either it's going to depress you and leave you sad and doing things out of sadness, right? Purchasing and so on and so forth, or the state of other people's drama is going to make you think that you're in a better space than them when you're actually not. But then you'll go off into the world and you'll live lavishly when you actually are as close to the bottom as they are. A lot of what's been given to us in mainstream and social media has been a lie. Um, there to indoctrinate, or new word today, inculcate, to a way of thinking. See, in my opinion, inculcation, if that is a word, comes before indoctrination. I gotta soften you up first, and that's what we've been witnessing, is the softening up of our people. And when I say our people, baby, I mean Americans at this point. We're war to land at our doorstep tomorrow. How many folks you know gonna be able to fight? It's like that. First of all, y'all, on my community wall, I posted the thing about Gladiator, the remake. Don't do that. Why? Mm-mm, mm-mm. None of the voices even sound powerful enough to replace what it is that we remember from the first movie. So stop doing that. Be creative. There are new things under the sun when you put your mind to it. When you're stuck in a cycle of just repeating everybody else's bullshit, then well, welcome to history repeating itself. It repeats itself because you don't change it. You don't recognize the cycles and the patterns and decide where you can jump in and change something. Mark says we've strayed so far from God, we are becoming a, well, here's the thing, March. Yes and no. From a Christian standpoint, there are those who may believe that we have strayed too far from God. From a 5% standpoint, we're at the point where there are going to be many gods. We have to remember when we're thinking things all the way through, when we go through the timeline of understanding, we recognize that there is God and then there are gods. We know this to be true because it's written in the books that we read, even the ones that we are refusing to discuss because, well, you can't talk about religion, politics, or money in polite society. But it's time that we discuss these things because they are what make or break a people. But I say all that to say, we were gods once. We'll be gods again. That's just an understanding of what's coming for man. The thing is, in order to reach that level of understanding, you have to let go of so many things. You have to let go of what you would even call your core beliefs briefly, but you have to let go of standing on things can't change. This is it. This is all that there is. Because this isn't it. This isn't all that there is. They've told us that. We just don't listen. We're not alone out here. We aren't the only ones out here. We don't walk on this planet the only thinking beings. So we've got to get to the point where we're willing to walk away from the things we knew and understood to learn something new. The information from before, we use that to scaffold in the new information. We take that new information and we turn it into working knowledge, wisdom. And then once we understand that thing, we use that thing as a tool to create with. And we create new things when we think new and differently. One thing, we have to open our mind to positivity. We live in a world, as Mark says, that's depressing, purposely so. You have to find your positive in the negative. It exists. Have a good night, March. Keep your spirit up. Indeed, only allies of pride. We don't do friends around here. There was a moment, well, there have been moments recently where I've really gotten impatient. Me and God talked about it. What I'm going to have to go through in order to do this, this, and this. He didn't give me specifics. He just said, be ready. And he said, it's going to come hard and fast, pause. But to be prepared for it. So I've been prepared for everything that's been thrown at me. And nothing stuck because it's not true to me. You can place a lie upon me. People do it all the time. But it's not true to me. Good job, March. Even I would say good night to both of them in spirit because it's been a minute. Or partially my fault. Mostly, I'll even say. Anyway. So shout out to Matriarch and Sister Enach. But we spend so much of our lives focused on the negatives that we forget that there are positives. And so even when I look at that video of the young ladies, I will not diminish their talent, their command for their craft. I wouldn't take that away from them. I would simply wish that the adults would around them would think better of some of it. You too, Matriarch. We don't have to be what they put on TV. We don't have to consume it or reproduce it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with dancing and singing. Hell, it's how I managed to get through it. It's just not every dance is meant to be seen, and not every dance is meant to be taught to our children. I try to think back to the history of dance in our culture, and I really do recognize a large part of it as expression through movement, expression of language, code, a host of things. That's the point, I guess. What's the message that we're expressing when your 10-year-old's giving the world her ass to kiss? I think I'm gonna leave y'all with that question. Keep your spirit up. I'll see you in the streets. Peace.